We are, yes, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of our Sunday Watch Parties. I am your host, Sharon. Joining me today is, all right, Miss Vampire Hunter S. Welcome.
Yes.
And welcome all in the chat. Welcome all of you that are joining. This is going to be an exciting one. We are doing our first anime ever, and this is Vampire Hunter D from 1985. Um, yeah, and I hope, you know what? I hope the crowd today, you guys got a lot to say on this. I have very little. I have some notes, but let's just enjoy this. I would love to know everybody's opinion, the whole anime genre, how this fits into it, how everybody got into anime, what you like about it, etc., etc. Um, so, without further ado, we should all be synced up. I'm about 2 seconds in, right as the Japanese characters show on screen. I don't know these characters. I couldn't even tell you what it says, but there they are. So, without further ado, if everybody is synced up, Miss Swift, would you like to do us a countdown?
Yeah, okay. Here we go. We're doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off!
All right, here we go. We are off and running. We have got a good crowd today, guys. Let me do a shout out to everybody in the chat. We have in the YouTube, we have GH Zoner. We have, hey, Miss Swift is in there. We have Calbot, Eric. Let's see. Calbot, Matt is there. Welcome, welcome. Oh, Johnny Devick. Let's see. We have all of the usual suspects. We have Edward the Black Prince. Eric, am I missing anybody? I hope not. Over there in our Discord chat, we've got a lot of chat going on. Eric, Matt, Fraglord, Sith Sister, welcome everybody. Calbot, um, Matt Sterling is over there. Wonderful. Welcome to the chat, one and all. Am I missing anybody? Anybody raise your hand? Say, hey, me.
So we
All
start off
right.
2 moons. You saw me walking alone. And then we had some narration there. So this is in the far future. I'm from the future.
Yeah, from like 21,000 years, something like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Um, okay, so already in the chat, I see Matt. This is his first time watching. Anybody else? Is this your first time watching? Is this, um, have you seen it before? This is, as Eric is saying, I love this old school anime style. And I guess this is what they would call OVA, right? Original
Version
video.
animation.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
Also, it's OA or OAV in the original
oh, wait.
animation version. Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen it. I've seen it referred to as both.
Okay. And so what makes this different
Um,
than like
so
non-OVA, I guess?
you might say that these are like side stories. Like if you were to say it was like the full season, it would be like something they intended to like go on forever. But these are like the short mini series. You say it's a mini series. It's the equivalent of a mini series because there's meant to be like
Oh,
either
okay.
like a one-off movie or a one-off like set of like 6 episodes or so.
Okay. All right, sister, first time watching for both me and my wife. All right, we got some first timers. Okay. Johnny Devick not seen it on non-CRT before. Oh wow, CRT, that's going way back.
Yep.
Calbot, first time for me too. Anime is just not my thing at all. My experience begins and ends with Speed Racer and Battle of the Planets slash Gotchaman or Gatchaman. How do you pronounce it?
Yep.
Um,
Well,
Calbot, I've seen it a couple times in streams, but I don't seek it out. Okay. Um, so we're just, often running the whole anime. I
We're all
had not even heard of this or seen it before. I did kind of a little pre-watch yesterday to kind of familiarize myself with it. I know anime, the history goes way back when it was introduced into the United States. Then, it kind of took off running here, but as far as I understand, this is solely when you say anime, it's got to be the stuff that originates in Japan by the Japanese artists. If if I got that right, does anybody else have anything to add to that? Because otherwise, it wouldn't be anime. Is that right? Or
yeah, like I said, it's the style of like the Japanimation, but very specifically under their banner with their themes and such. Um, so we got some little factoids from Johnny Devick. They intended to try to have this in the cinema, so they made some extra scenes in the end to get it long enough for cinema, but it didn't happen. Yeah. And also, we see some good old fashioned scary Japanese id with a buffalo shots of the girl because you can't have Japanese animation without shots of underwear or heinies.
yeah, this is um, not your Saturday morning cartoons. This is very adult themed,
Yeah,
and probably if they had to rate this in the cinema, it would probably be our maybe PG. Um, it could it really be rated R if there's not the sex or the blood?
you probably
I don't
like
know. I'm sure there are some rated R anime, right?
it's it's a lot of it is especially since they have different social standards for what counts as like adult versus child
Right.
friendly or general TV friendly. So as far as this goes, yeah, this was one of my first earliest animes uh that I got outside of like an anime a group of friends or clubs. So I actually started I want to say with either like the Guyver or Ranma one half.
Hmm.
This one I don't know if one of the first times I saw it was we rented it or if it was because it was being shown on Sci-Fi Channel or something like that. When Sci-Fi was like, ooh, anime. We'll have this whole block of anime that will play at prime time. And just like I said, it was when I first started watching it, it was like, oh, it's animated, but like it has these adult themes and things that I wasn't used to seeing in American animation. Particularly like a lot of the American animation that tried to be adult just didn't hit. So, so it's like that.
Okay. Um, yeah, okay. So Edward the Black Prince, you will see some things in anime you're not accustomed to in animation, Sharon, you'll be fine. Um, y- yeah, most definitely. There's definitely the style to the animation, which does set it apart from the Saturday morning cartoons is basically what I grew up on. Um, and and then I knew the anime was around, but it wasn't something that I was ever drawn to. Yeah, for whatever reason. I guess, yeah, it just kind of wasn't my thing and it wasn't something I sought out. So yeah, kind of like you, Calbot. It's not something I seek out, but I can appreciate this art form because you still have to tell an engaging story. You still have to create engaging characters. Um, and you have to be able to make money on it. So it's no different than some other art forms.
Yep. And like Edward the Black Prince said, that imagery of the lone samurai mixed with the Western outlaw D. So yeah, so if you go back to that whole thing of westerns, spaghetti westerns influencing Japanese cinema, back to
Hmm.
Japanese cinema influencing American cinema or people like George Lucas. So it just kind of kept going back and forth. And as was earlier said in the chat, yes, a lot of Western animation is done overseas, especially a lot of the earlier stuff that I used to watch as a child. A lot of that was imported Japanese animation. So if you'd say like, if you don't specifically count stuff I knew was anime, I would say stuff like Battle for the Planets and Gotcha Man and Speed Racer and like Thundercats and Transformers. That was probably some of the earliest anime I watched. I just didn't know at the time. And of course, the Rankin and Bass stuff. And also we have here, for those who didn't realize, we had our heroine here get got by a vampire. Her poor horse got nommed by
Um,
whatever that was she was hunting.
do we know what she was hunting yet? I mean, the
It was.
story really hasn't unfolded, but we will. We'll find out what she's hunting.
It looks like she was hunting
Or what
Barney
is,
the dinosaur or whatever.
or,
Grab
you know,
noise.
something was hunting her, actually.
Both.
Um,
She was hunting something else, and something else hunted her and got
yeah.
her.
So yes, Mad Matt. So I missed all of these in the 70s. Although, you know what? I am familiar. Okay, Watership Down, I saw as a kid. Um, but I
Yep.
didn't connect it. That is so funny. And then The Hobbit.
Yep.
Um, so two of those images
All right.
I can't quite make
We've
out. Can
got
you make those out?
yeah. Well, I kind of know what they want. One is The Hobbit. One is Lord of the Rings, the Ralph Bakshi by Ralph Bakshi. The other one
Oh,
is Wizards, also by Ralph Bakshi. And the top one above there was, of course, Fritz the Cat, another thing by Ralph Bakshi, who also did, I
gotcha.
think, what is it? American Pop. So he was literally trying like almost single-handedly to get cartoons into the animated movies more into the adult space. Oh yeah, Heavy Metal and Fire and Ice. As in Heavy Metal, the animated movies, and then there was Fire and Ice. Was that another? That was another Bakshi one, wasn't it? Or but was based on the works of like
Fire.
Faz Frenzetta.
Let's see. Heavy Metal came out what, early 80s, Fire and Ice 1983.
Yep.
Okay. And so were those movies considered anime and created in Japan and imported here? Or were they
No,
American uh borrowing the anime style? Was
they
that
were more. They were just more American and European, I believe, just like trying to do in the standard American and European style. They weren't considered
okay?
anime. They were just like its own thing.
Okay.
Got a little kid here. Whee! He's got a little Robo and Dee's Robo horse. If it wasn't for my horse, I would have never made it through that year of grad school.
So there was a comment a little bit ago about how
Gigantor.
going into the
Yeah.
future and about how everything is back to a rural life because I guess they're oh here, Mr. Furzel. I like how thousands of years in the future we revert to a rural kind of lifestyle. But yet we have a robo horse and all of this technology. It looks like it's protecting the perimeter of their little farm. But yeah, very rural.
Yeah. Oh, you see something similar in what was in the Castlevania series too. The Castlevania animated series, where it was like, oh look, there's like this like futuristic stuff, but but it also reverted. Oh yeah, so GH Zoner is saying, yeah, Fire and Ice was rotoscoped though. Yeah, a lot of what Bakshi and those style animations they rotoscoped live actors. Disney did some, but not to extent of or as noticeable as it was when you looked at a lot of Ralph Bakshi's stuff, like particularly his take uh on his version of Lord of the Rings,
Mhm.
and also when he did um Wizards.
Johnny Devitt. Anime was very secluded in the start, most in clubs and art galleries before some got into TV and film later. Um, and okay, and so here's it. Here's a question about the developing art form of anime. So in the beginning, when it was all drawn by hand, very detailed, and it took a very specific kind of artist to be able to create this.
Yeah.
But then, did it what transition into the digital age? And is the
Yes.
anime that is now being produced, is it all being created by computers? And is the basis for the art form taken out of the human hands?
Not entirely. So there's, well, I can definitely see some of the stuff like with the sequel to this, Vampire Hunter Bloodlust, where you could see where a lot of the backgrounds were heavily done with computer assisted. And then I know when I was watching stuff like Angel Links or from like Outlaw Star, where you see where their
Mhm.
models of the ships and stuff they use, those were clearly like 3D animation or something, probably cell shaded or flattened, whereas a lot of the characters still are. And right now we've got our good old fashioned rich jerk.
Who is the
Getting
mayor's son?
fun.
Though, yeah.
Oh
Look
my
at
god,
me,
the
look at me.
classics. Look at me, look at me.
Um,
Like I like you, like you're not gonna turn me down. And because you turned me down, now I'm gonna out what happened to you to the whole town.
very adult themed.
Yep.
Um, okay, interesting. So from the audience, um, Eric, okay, so Eric is saying, so I'm watching in the original Japanese language. I never listen to the English dubs. That's really the beauty of these movies, is listening to it in the original language, how it was intended, and then just reading the English dubs.
Or-
That is these imports. That this is how I love to watch movies, and I'd love to go back and watch this movie in the original language and just read the subtitles.
Well, I remember there's been occasions with animes, like yeah, you watch when you watched them with someone who actually understood Japanese, particularly like in the early days, and you could just hear them chuckle, like, "Oh, that is totally not what they said." Like, "Oh," and they're like, "Yeah," because they a lot of times they clean up even in the subtitles. Sometimes they clean up what was actually said.
Yeah. Edward the Black Prince. Once you go sub, you can't go back.
Oh, yes, I can. I totally
Yeah.
can go back. Because I started off with a lot of subs, a lot of fan subs. So when we talk about we used to pass around tapes, it was because yeah. So someone from Japan or wherever would get whatever they had released on videotape or whatever was shown on TV. Possibly they put it on a bootleg, and then a group of people would toil away to sub them, and then they would start circulating them. Brutally murdered 30 villagers in in retribution. Vampire Hunter D, where are your eyes? Oh, there they are.
Just a comment, that we only see his eyes when we're looking up close.
Hmm.
Okay, let's turn this off.
Yeah, yeah. Some fan subs can be better because one, the fans have infinite time and don't you have
Um,
to figure out voice acting and all that and stuff. Infinite time and doesn't necessarily they have no budget, so basically they have an infinite budget. Is hard. It's the best way to say that. So they can spend
Infinite
as much.
budget usually just comes from the big studios, and I guess
Yeah.
um, there are a couple of the really big studios in Japan that can create these and just kind of mass produce them because they've got the resources.
Hmm.
Um,
But yeah.
and
But when you can take as much time as you want to do a translation and as much time
yeah,
as you want to stick it on a on a video, yeah, you can make different choices about what the authors say. And also, if you're not trying to get it released or fit some sort of standard rating for America.
Yeah, GH Zoner. I
Yeah.
respect her choice to wear a skirt that does not even come close to covering what a skirt should cover.
She must be cold. Her legs must be freezing. Let's see. Oh, Johnny Depp is like the
That's
Doris
not stopping her.
voice actor played Rita Repulsa in Power Rangers.
Oh, well, is it true that the English dubbing for this didn't happen until much, much later?
Yeah, yeah, usually. Yeah, that's the way it is. Yeah,
Right.
so even when you got something over, getting a dub was was really tough because like I said, you had to pay people to
Yeah.
do some voice acting.
So if I understand correctly, so there are um sequels to this, right? Sequels to this movie with the same vampire hunter
Yes.
character. Is that right? He shows up
Yeah.
again. How do those rate to this one? Because this is the original. And according to these notes, it's credited as one of the earliest anime productions targeted explicitly at the male teenager slash adult demographic in lieu of family audiences and capitalized on the emerging OVA market due to its violent content and influence from European horror mythology.
Yeah. So I know, well, given it's a long running manga, so they could have as many as they want. I know there's one, Bloodlust, which is
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
liked that one way better than this one. Despite
Mhm.
despite there being one character I really, really hated so much. So damn much.
Right. You in the sequel or this one?
In the sequel. This one was okay.
Gotcha.
Like this one was, it wasn't bad. But compared to Bloodlust, for me, it seemed like the artwork took a step up, and like the story was better. I
Mhm.
don't want to say the voice acting. I think seemed about on par, maybe slightly better.
Um, so G.H. Zoner, about 20 years later, the sequel came. Yeah,
Yep,
that's a good question. Hunter D. Bloodlust was 2000.
yep.
Was it created by the same studio, by the same artists? 2000. So it was about 15 years later.
And as old Johnny Depp said,
Um,
yeah, the sequel is a work of art. This is more of a hack job in comparison. Yes, definitely. You
okay,
could definitely tell that. I would say the sequel came closer to capturing that artistic sumptuousness of the
gotcha.
manga and all the artwork. And that's what you can describe the artwork for Vampire Hunter D in general. People say gorgeous. Like, no, it's sumptuous. It's very detailed. It's all curled and very stylized. It's like they literally are like works of art. They're really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
And also the sequel had you could definitely see where they started using CGI a lot.
Yeah, because you can tell when the transition happened in the 90s,
Yeah.
a lot of companies went away from the hand-drawn animation, but there is such a beauty and art in the hand-drawn frame by frame animation. There is nothing else like it. And Mr. Fursel over there in Discord is commenting, if the aristocrat is about 10,000 years old, that means he would have been born about now.
Right about
Yep,
now, Funk
right about
Soul Vampire.
now.
Check it out now, Funk Soul
um,
Vampire.
yeah. Oh, Johnny Devick. Yeah, the sequel is a work of art. This is more of a hack job in comparison. Yep. Yep. Johnny Devick also says it was a new team. Looks, yeah,
Yep.
the sequel had a new director. Um, and let's see, I had that tab open. Yeah, new director. Probably the production company is new too.
But like I said, this is the OG, and I respect it because it was
Yeah.
at the time. I'm like, this is great. I kind of liked it. It had its little
Yeah.
rough moments, but
Well, there every franchise, every ongoing character franchise has to have a beginning.
Yep.
And this is a chance for us to explore the beginnings. This is certainly, 1985 is not the beginning of anime, because that started way before then, but this seems to be one of the beginning ones that landed in the United States, that landed abroad and
Mhm.
seemed to hit.
And now we got our first showdown. We've got our minions.
Oh yes, this guy's what is his name?
I have not yet begun to fight. Ooh ah ooh ah. And now I'm thinking about the series Van Helsing, the
Yes, there's a
anime.
lot of mention of that.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the anime series Helsing, not Van Helsing.
The anime, okay, not the Van Helsing that we know and love from Count Dracula.
Well, yes, but
Van Helsing anime.
Helsing anime.
Okay, and also the Castlevania show that was mentioned earlier, that's the only one that I know of came out on Netflix a couple years
Yes,
ago, lasted a couple seasons,
yeah,
because
yeah,
I
that
don't
was
think it
good.
existed before then, right?
The series, no, but like it was a series of games, and I think they'd actually
Hmm.
done comic and manga adaptations,
Mm.
but then they turned it into a pretty decent anime.
And this character D came from manga, is that right? Or
Yes.
the origin of the Vampire Hunter D story came from manga?
Yep.
Okay. And I guess a lot of the anime has its roots in manga, and then manga borrows from anime. So it's this world that is kind of twisted together, and that share a lot of the same what material, I
Yeah.
guess.
Hey, vampire hunters is good business. You can always, it's like as long as there are people who love vampires, there are people who love vampire hunters.
Vampires, in any shape, form, lore, anything like that.
Yep.
And I think we learned there is also werewolves in this
Yes.
universe.
Like I said, we saw the werewolf, but it seemed more like I'd have to look into it deeper, but it seemed more like the werewolf was like a vampire in werewolf form, or was it actually a werewolf? I have to look into that. I'm not entirely versant in the lore of this particular world, but like show like a little bit of the vampire hunter D artwork in the Discord, so I could see see what I say
Oh
when
yeah,
it's like
where'd you pick that up from? Is that based on this or the whole
yes.
series?
So when I say like the artwork of the series, yeah, it's from it's from the manga series. So
Okay.
when I say like the artwork was is so like gorgeous and extra beautiful, you get stuff like this. Like every it seems like at least all the covers, some of the panels, like a lot of times when you got the manga, you could have like the story, but inside in
Hmm.
like center there would be like the artwork or the gatefolds. So you would see a lot of stills and like, just like each page is a painting.
And the manga in and of itself is a beautiful representation of that art form.
Yes.
Um, a lot of work goes into creating that.
Yep.
There we go, Matt.
Werewolves,
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 werewolves.
werewolves. Um, Interesting. Johnny Depp is saying Van Helsing with Jackman was supposed to be a series also, but failed to appear.
Yeah.
Yeah, his movie on Van Helsing didn't land too well. It just was like lukewarm. It was pretty good,
Yeah, and that's why they went
but
so far.
it's got
They changed his name because they wanted to be able to copyright him and like do all the merchandising, which is why his name isn't like Abraham. It's something else. His first name is like something else. I forget what it was.
and yeah, oh, gosh, that movie came out 2004. Wow.
Hmm.
Okay.
And here we have like it was definitely after the Lord of the Rings because the actor who played Faramir was in it, and it was like, oh, that was his one of his first things, like right after the Lord of the Rings ended. So I'm putting another thing in the chat where it compares the look of Vampire Hunter D in this and in Bloodlust, or should say in the Discord.
Oh yeah, there you go. 1985 versus 2000.
Doesn't yep.
Yeah, he got an updated look, a little bit darker. Okay. Oh, so G.H. Zoner is saying, if I remember correctly, werewolves were supposed to become vampires when they died. In the regular lore, or are you thinking in the lore of this anime universe? Because I had not heard that before.
I know in regular real world lore, it I that was one of the things like oh if you're a werewolf
Mm.
as in life then you'd become one in it because the whole point of you being a werewolf in life was that you were an evil bastard who decided they wanted to put on a wolf skin and harm people, you know.
Oh, yeah, I had not heard that lore ever before. In all of the representations that I have read about and seen on movies or TVs, it was always werewolves and vampires were separate creatures because
Yeah,
they originated from very different means.
yeah.
And they, yeah, you wouldn't become one or the other, one and then the other.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
some vampire folklore held
interesting.
that oh, one of the ways you became a vampire was this, or someone hopped over your
Interesting.
grave, or if you were born with a caul on your head,
Huh.
you would when you died you'd become a vampire. So, like it's
Yeah,
like just not like no one thing. Like every region seemed to get their own variant on it, and it also changed over time. But yes,
okay. Um, Yeah, G.H. Zoner is saying, yeah, in actual human mythology, I had just not heard that.
hmm
Matt is commenting vampires can shift to wolves, as in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yes, but they don't become werewolves.
yeah.
They can change their appearance, but it doesn't make them werewolves. So it's kind of that gray area that I just don't know enough to know that lore has ever existed.
It's like
But that's
so
why,
we meet again,
yeah.
Dampil.
Oh, that's right. So he has gone to the castle, right?
Have fun storming the
The
castle.
castle. Oops. So okay, what is that word? The damper?
Dem-
Damper?
Dempil or Vampil. Basically,
Okay.
it's a human vampire hybrid. So basically, they call him Dampil because he's not a real vampire or full vampire.
Okay.
He's the result of like I think a vampire mating with a human.
Ah, Mr. Furzel, case in point, posted a picture of another famous damper blade.
Yes,
Yes.
he's a daywalker like Blade. So he's
Mm-hmm.
Blade would be considered a Dampil, a vampire.
Mm. Yeah, Edward the Black Prince, Daywalker like Blade.
Yep.
Well, okay, what isn't there a movie?
This
Day
uh,
Daybreakers, I think is what I'm thinking of.
well,
The
there's
vampires.
Daybreakers. Was it? Oh,
Daybreakers.
Daybreak.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the one that was like Russian. It was. Oh no, I'm thinking of Day Watch and Night Watch.
Mhm. Daybreakers, interesting movie.
Yep. Said, "Oh, Johnny Depp. He reminds me of Solomon Kane." Yeah, I believe Solomon Kane was probably a direct rip off of Vampire Hunter D. Underworld, 10,000 AD.
All right. Um, so yeah, GH Zoner is mentioning the Castlevania creators were taking mad notes off of this one.
Yes, they were.
So
Said,
I
let's see.
guess they borrowed heavily from this.
Somebody owes somebody some royalty checks. Uh, see, old Johnny Depp's like they just threw everything in the kitchen sink into the on this one. Vampires, werewolves, whites,
Yeah.
ghosts, giants. It's like a D&D session gone horribly
Golems.
wrong. There was like freaking. There's a witch lady. You got the little dinosaur things. We've got cyborg horses.
Oh,
You
that's
got.
right. The Medusas. That here we go. There they are. Yep. You got pretty much everything, some of everything.
It's like what he's. Well, I would say sirens, but technically sirens were originally birds. But we call these what deadly mermaids, dryads, or something. Nymphs.
They call themselves like the Medusas,
Okay.
although they're a type of Medusa, I guess.
Okay. I don't see a lot of snakes there. Matt,
Yeah,
Spring
so
Breakers was a completely different thing. We don't even get into
Spring Breakers was not a horror movie, I don't think.
I don't know. It was pretty horrible.
Was it? Okay, Spring Breakers movie, not one word. Let's see, that was
That's
from
like
2012.
Franco. Like, was it Emma Roberts? Oh my god.
Who else we got? James Franco, Vanessa Hudgens, Selena Gomez.
We got
Um, Probably not a horror movie, I'm guessing.
Dr. Acula. Paging Dr. Acula.
Um, what are some of the newer animes that you guys are into that you guys like series or movies that are out? Some recent ones that maybe rely more on the CGI, but still pack a wallop.
Like say now this looks much more Medusa like. Now they're snakes. Fates mixed with hydra.
Ah,
Birds are
yeah,
harpies.
Matt is saying birds are harpies, sirens are mermaids.
Sirens were originally birds too.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah, they became mermaids over time, but sirens were actually a type of bird.
Um,
Originally, they
okay.
would be on the. They were like fly over Ulysses' ship, and it would be like, oh, this the birds making them crave. You know.
Johnny Depp Attack on Titan comes to mind, and some here made me see Dan to Dan.
Said, what is yeah. Yes, they're trying to extract vampire from these precious bodily fluids. Let's see.
Oh, that's right. I think we were talking about Dan to Dan
Said I think I did. Let's
a
see.
couple weeks ago, right?
Par was like Dangaduradon, the one with the weird evil teddy bear that's in like half black and white, half you know. Uh, uh See,
Oh,
it's hard to say modern because for me, modern is like 10 or 15 years ago because I'm so behind on anime. So I like,
anything recent, as in, 10 years could be considered recent. If it's something that you like to revisit that comes to mind offhand when I say, a recent
Mhm.
anime.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, Chainsaw Man. Because it's like it's and also trying to remember it because a lot of times I'm catching the recent stuff at conventions and it's just I just go in the room and there's something up there and I'm like, oh, okay, this looks interesting.
that would be a great place to get that is at conventions.
Yeah, that was one
Is
of the
it like,
other places I used to get my early anime from because they'd get the fan subs or the fan dubs and then
mhm.
that's how you'd get it. Oh, we're gonna go here and they have an anime. They're playing anime. You can go. You can watch some anime. And then like there used to be a couple stores near me where they had like it was like you had to go to the fancy comic book the store or like the place where you could go get your manga and your Japanese animation and there's one store like we used to rent so they would have like an anime library that you could rent so we'd go through that we're like and then
Mm,
near me one of the local universities had like a Japanese club so they used to host anime nights. So either they were doing the translations, the fan subbing, or they were getting holds of stuff from other folks. And then like that was like That's how I realized I was a nerd. I had resisted the I had resisted the label until then, until I looked around and realized that I'm sitting at an engineering school surrounded by nerds, and I was like, "Oh, that means I'm a nerd."
Love it.
Gotcha.
Love it. Embrace it. Embrace it, who you are. Nerds unite. Um, Revenge of the Nerds. At the end of that movie, they all just embrace who they are.
Yep.
And that's one of my favorite comedic movies is Revenge of the Nerds. But the sequels, I think they made a couple sequels. No way. I'm not watching those.
Okay, so we got
Um,
Yoshiaki Kawajiri of Ninja Scroll made the second. He is a goat. Yeah, like Ninja Scroll was pretty awesome. That was another early one I saw. I think that one was one of the ones we could actually rent at like Blockbuster or wherever our movie rental place was. Oh no! Vampire
oh,
D bites back.
that's a good question. Back in the day, was anime a big deal at your local video rental store? Could
It
you find what you were looking for?
Not really. It became like it had like a small section, particularly like when something like sci-fi would release something. So some of the stuff like it was like a little tiny. You went to a little tiny one shelf thing. There was all the anime, and then you would watch that. And then, like I said, you'd have to go to if you started went to like the smaller chains or something. Like then they started carrying more. Like was it Suncoast? That was like they started carrying more of that. And then, like I was saying, for us, where there was like the comic store had their own, and they were getting the stuff that wasn't officially released. Because if you went to the Blockbuster or Suncoast or even like some of the small mom and pop chains, they had to get theirs officially from a licensor or distributor. So there wasn't a lot available to rent. You had very small certain things, like things that got like, oh look, this actually got a release. And then you would like, oh, we'd go like, is there any new anime? And it was usually no, but like when you start working through. It's like I said,
Mhm.
one little section. Then it went to like two sections. Then it went to like
And
three
then
sections.
if
Yeah,
you got hooked on it, then you would have to go somewhere else to watch it.
yeah,
Edward the Black Prince is saying it was still rare even in the early 2000s.
yeah,
Interesting. Um, was it so? I think you were saying you watched it on TV, right? Were you saying that
yeah,
you watched it on TV back in the day too?
yeah.
So
It
it
was
would
a big
occasionally show
deal.
up on TV.
It was a
Okay.
big deal when a Sci-Fi Channel, I want to say, oh, mid to late '90s, started doing this thing where they were like, oh, they would do some. They were like, here's some anime, and like it was like Anime Week or something. So they had like, I guess this will try to be some of it was new stuff, but here we go. Here's the stuff we just got in, so you don't have to rent it. Here's it on cable, and then it would play it like 5 nights a week. So there was something called Memories. There was Wicked City, and the thing was, a lot of this was like X-rated stuff, so they had to cut it a lot. I think this was one of them.
Mm.
Let's see, there was Robot Carnival, like a couple other things. Yeah, Galaxy
Yeah.
Express, and then like
Yeah,
and it was
Johnny Devick is saying anime went up over 100% in export this year alone, so it has been a recent success. And it's interesting. It doesn't seem like it's been a recent success because it's been around for decades.
yeah, it's
But it seems like it's just now getting mainstream with like within the last 10 years, I'd say.
yeah.
But I'm not a good one to judge because it really hasn't been my thing. But I certainly know that it exists and how big it has become.
Said it was
Um,
yeah, it's been building and like then it was a big deal when like Cartoon Network started doing anime shows like at their Toonami block. So they started playing anime too. So
Or the
you
Black
started
Prince just mirrored that. For me,
yeah,
it was Toonami on Cartoon Network in the 90s to 2000s.
yep,
Yeah. Um, sister is saying, I miss the video store experience. That was my lifeline growing up.
yep,
Uh, yeah, you and
facts.
me both. You and me both. Um, so yeah, interesting because it has been around. But yeah, watching it as a kid, I'm familiar with Speed Racer and some of those other cartoons, but it never clicked to me that it was anime. It was just simply another cartoon to watch. Um, but it was those were geared towards the kids, but now you're getting into these grown up. Yeah, this is definitely a grown up theme when you've got, you know, uh,
Severed
a
hands and
bear.
harpies and
You've got
whatever.
severed bodies cut in half. You've got the blood. You've got the naked Medusas. Right. This is
Yep.
very grown up. So then it would have to do an appropriate rating, even though it's a cartoon. Um, this probably got. There was a mention earlier in the UK. It was rated 15.
Yep.
Um, the official rating for this here in the States, let's see if I can find that.
Yep.
Not
And you know, like,
rated.
yeah, like
Interesting.
there's saying with like the original stuff you didn't realize. Like I remember watching like Thundercats and I was looking at the credits and then like I was like, oh, there's a lot of like I don't know if I knew that they were Japanese names, but I was like, oh, those are all like I was looking at the name and it was like, oh, like those aren't American, so it was like, yeah, interesting.
Matt is saying it was said that to make it acceptable to an American audience, they had to lessen the romance and increase the violence, especially if they were gearing towards the male teenage.
Demo,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, if that was their demographic, and a little TNA wouldn't help.
because yeah,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
this is. Oh, go ahead.
I think yeah, because you know that was who seemed to be into this because you know guess this is like comics. Who likes comics? These are the people who like comics. We should do it more like this, you know.
Yeah. And then they had to appease the censors in an ever-changing genre,
Hmm.
but you create what your heart is, where your heart is at, and as the studio, if it's a studio production, you create what is going to sell, and you have to kind of cater that to what is going to sell. And this is the same as any other kind of movie form. You just have to find your niche, and I guess it's just taken a lot longer for this niche to hit it big. But
Right.
it's always been around. That's what is flabbergasting to me. This has always been around in one form or another and has been very successful. Not necessarily in every market, but it seems like it's here to stay in the United States anyway. So um,
It's like yeah, you
I'm
definitely
not to appreciate this art form now, I guess.
yeah, like you said it was like it got and also it's a lot of what you think of as anime, particularly in America or the Western side, was what got imported because so yeah, you got a lot of action-based horror ones. A lot of the more comedic ones, those were the ones that got ported over. Whereas the more stuff, more like high school drama stuff, or the sports one, like what is it, Prince of Tennis, or like Cocoa Greenwood or Welcome to Greenwood. That was more like humorous, like high school stuff. Then there's like Oron Host Club. There's like all sorts of stuff that like it doesn't like I said, the American audience didn't necessarily get a thing, but they have more niche audiences because there's a there's like a whole big thing with like the sports ones because there's one about tennis and golf and whatever.
Mhm.
You could just have one that's just about the drama of these particular sports. There was ones about like people. I think it was like Brother Dear Brother or something, where that one's more like a young girl dealing with like high school stuff with her brother and they're in like the equivalent of high school and stuff so like everything you did it was just like that wasn't my cup of tea but I know some people who were just like that's what they were the same people are like about K dramas now there's like a whole string of animes that are just like that.
There will always be a market for it. Um, Johnny Devick had a really good comment about that. I heard studio bosses in US didn't think animation would go into cinema. Movies went into cinema, not animation. And so it was this probably this whole mindset. Johnny Devick also said Disney was the exception, right? Everybody knows and can recognize a Disney movie. We can recognize a Disney animation. We can recognize uh, what to expect from a Disney movie. It needs to be family friendly. It can you can take your kids to it, but not so with anime. You have to be careful. So maybe for the longest time there was no market for it. You couldn't put an anime movie in the theater and have it be a success in the states. Uh,
Yes,
but
right.
but maybe things are changing now, and with um, yeah, I don't know. It's you would think as as the whole genre has changed, so has the audience.
Yeah, like
COVID
Edward.
hit, and no one went to the theater. So is it even going to be a thing these days? Bringing anime to the theater?
Yes, old Johnny Depp said. No, sorry, Edward's Black Prince said. Yeah, animation was for kids. But then and going back to old Johnny Devick's, like his first real anime interest came out of Project Eiko and Tenchi Muyo. Like yeah, I saw both of those. Tenchi Muyo, I saw because some other friends had gotten into it, and that's harem anime. Uh, but
What is that? Is
Project
that different than other anime?
yeah, like
Tenchi Muyo?
Muyo, like in a sense. Okay, so Project Eiko was another one that was played on Sci-Fi. So harem anime was there's basically a male character and a series of female characters that were all in love with him, and it was like there may have been one true pairing where like, oh, this is clearly the couple, but like there's all these other women who all seem to be obsessed with or in love with the main character, and like maybe we shouldn't call it harem anime, make call it why choose, which then it evolved and you got into reverse harem where it was a case of it was a female character where all the male leads were in love with her
Sure.
and like they all
Oh,
like
how
and
funny.
it was like all of them competing for her attention while they did other things like save the universe, save the world,
Interesting.
whatever. Like, oh,
It
whatever.
sounds like well, okay, so GH Zoner, this kind of goes it's going to go into my observation and my question. So GH Zoner is saying, who like me saw the first Pokemon movie in theaters and thought it was so weird to watch anime on the big screen at the time? Um, so it sounds like from our discussion that a lot of your the first exposure to it was on either like a rental or on TV with like the Sci-Fi Channel showing this anime, and so it really wasn't in a theater, um, but you still got interested in it, and it still is here in the United States. It just wasn't big in the theaters. So there still is a market for it here, just not in a theater setting. This movie has it's a pretty engaging story. It's a pretty engaging characters. It's got the action. It's got a plot that just kind of keeps moving along. There's really not a lot of wasted space, right? Um, and we're like almost done with it.
And we got the
28
mayor's son here being an obnoxious douche while also trying to like, haha, I'll be the one to save you. Oh, whoops.
Not so
There you go.
much. Yep. Mm. Matt saw heavy metal in the theater. I remember when that came out, that was a big deal. But it didn't usher in this revolution of anime movies in the theater. It was almost like a one off, and then it was gone. But there was something special about heavy metal. It was like a one of a kind movie. Here in the States, it was anyway.
Oh, Johnny Depp is like, Ryoka is the best character in anime. Change my mind. Ryoka's a character from Tenchi Muyo. And I'm like, I'm not sure if I could change your mind. Not
Oh,
particularly my cup of tea, but she is pretty badass. It also depends on which version.
interesting. Edward the Black Prince animation is honestly more favored by adults today. Um, yeah, and I would go so far as even when my kids were little and I had to put cartoons on, I had to put movies on for them. It was always Disney. It was always something, it was never anime. So it was always the stuff that I had grown up on and always that the family friendly Disney. Um, but it was only recently that I recognized how important anime was and is to the industry. There you go. Some
You got your
TNA,
TNA. You
guys.
got your TNA. So, what's it? Macross Plus, oh, Johnny Depp says, is probably the best animated thing ever when I think about it.
Hmm.
Well, I don't know, like I said, because that reminds me, like, that was another one that I watched. That was on, like, network to me. It was called Robotech. The
Oh, there was
original
another mention. Someone else mentioned Robotech.
Robotech. And I didn't, like, eventually I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, one of my first crushes on an animated male character was a evil,
Right.
was the jerk Kyle Minmay. I was like, but he
Um,
was so cute. He was just, you're an asshole.
so yeah, mentioning Macro Plus, the movie from 1995, there was a lot of discussion when we were, yes, Edward the Black Prince. I'm just innocent in a lot of ways. When I was getting your input on anime Macros Plus, there's the original one and then Macros Plus, got a lot of discussion. So it seems to be a favorite of a lot of people, or they watched it and liked it a lot. Oh yeah, flashing lights. No warning, guys. Flashing lights. Edward the Black Prince. Holy seizure, Batman. Yeah, this was back when they didn't give any warnings to flashing lights or anything like that.
Yep. It said, yeah, I didn't remember the shower scene either because probably the way I was used to seeing this was probably the Sci-Fi Channel version where they would cut that out.
Still, nudity would be nudity, right? Even if it's hand drawn.
Oh, the Chun Li was better. Oh, that Street Fighter movie. Oh, I'm trying to figure out which one I thought was like because they did Street Fighter. They made several Street Fighter animes, and I forgot the one where it was literally every time they showed Chun Li, it was a picture of her middle section, like her boobs or her crotch or something. It was ridiculous. And they had like this weird framing shot where there's two male characters talking in the background. They're in the background, and the foreground is such a side shot of Chun Li from about here to her side, where they just framed the shot with her her butt and some side boob. It was just like ridiculous. We're like, this guy really wanted to show us Chun Li's body.
Um, just like some of the teen movies in the 80s, in order to get a lot of tickets sold, you got to put the sex in. I mean, and so anime is no different. Sometimes it plays an integral part in the story, but probably not as often as we would like. It's just that's just part of the movie.
As Liam Neeson's character in the Deadpool said, "Bums in seats, love."
That's exactly right.
Oops.
So this is indeed showing us who he truly is, right? He's a vampire.
Homeboy's still pissed off about getting his hand chopped off. Said, See, and the mayor's son. Oh, more seizure warning. I might need to turn
Uh,
on my light here.
so
Maniacal laugh, maniacal laugh.
in this lore, you have to use a wooden stake to kill a vampire still?
Kill or I'm trying to figure out was it kill or incapacitate?
Because he didn't use a wooden stake, right? Just now. It was
He used
metal,
it
right?
was metal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whee! Huh. And to think this would have gone differently if you'd chosen to cut off a different hand.
Oh, is that your
Is
volume?
he alive? Oh, was that my TV? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, if you want to turn that down a little bit.
Is he alive or dead? Has he thoughts within his head?
That's a familiar song. Um, what studio? What is the famous studio in
Oh,
Japan that produced all the early anime?
well, there's a couple different ones. It was like there was Filmation, uh, and also it's like well, it was Filmation, more like the distributor. There's studios like Clamp.
It wasn't just one in Japan that started it all, was there? Yeah, because I'm curious about the evolution of it. Um, and who's producing it now? GH Zoner says Toho. Ah, do. And who's producing it here in the States? Or is it still pretty much just imported? Well, yeah, this movie is just rolling along. All right, we got about 19 minutes, guys. Okay, as a side note, I want to mention something real quick. If anybody is familiar with the show, the what is it, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? If you guys have seen that, I recently just streamed the last season of it. The very last episode, it shows it shows the two gals, her and her agent, putting a VHS from across the world. They put their VHS tapes of their Jeopardy show that they recorded. They put their tapes in and watch it together. And I got a kick out of it because it reminds me of exactly what we do here every single week from around the world. We all get our movie queued up at the same time and press play at the same time. Um, so I got a kick out of that. If you guys have ever seen that show, the very final scene of that series, you could appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, like GH Sonder said, like Toei or Toho. Yeah. Then there was like Funimation.
Yes.
Those were distributors, and one of the other ones was Central Park Media. That was the one who used to do a lot of the stuff I got from when I was doing my VHS when I was purchasing stuff. They were responsible for a lot of the translations and dubs that I watched in the early days.
Yeah, so it does seem like most of the anime is still produced overseas. Calbot is saying this movie had the Toho logo at the beginning, I believe. Um, yeah, Edward the Black Prince, thank you for that. You basically have Crunchyroll, Netflix, and High Dive all buying licensing for distribution. Yeah. So I think that's what it is. The US market is just a distribution network and they just buy the licensing rights to it.
Yeah, Crunchyroll is how I did some stuff to watch stuff. So that one basically you can go look for something and see if it was there. Basically something you heard about or someone recommended to you. Maybe you
Yeah.
saw it on like the playlist for like a convention playlist and you're like, what is that? And I'm not quite sure how it looks like you got your magic hand that eats like dirt. It's like yum 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 yum. And now you're supercharged because you ate magic dirt. I don't know how it works, but it works.
Apparently,
Got our
uh,
intrepid little kid here, our precocious little kid. You've always got to have the little precocious little kid.
yes, and he's the little
Talk to the
brother of
hand.
Doris. I find
Yes.
that kind of interesting for being this pivotal character, heroine. Her name is Doris. And his name, what is his name? Kenny? Mad is his name Kenny? Let's see if I have notes on that. Dan. His name is Dan.
Oh my
Pretty
God, they
average
killed Kitty.
names.
Dan
They
Dan
killed Kenny.
Dan 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 Dan.
Someone's gonna post a gif of that. Someone killed Kenny, you bastard.
Margaret. Vampire Brides. Whoops. Guess that doesn't work.
She looks a little young. I mean, this would border on like child bride.
That's an awful tall castle. That's a lot of falling.
And he's unscathed.
And now we know that a pipe to the head it won't do a thing.
This story's a little creepy. He's
Yes.
10,000 years old and she's maybe 15, 16.
So Edward and Bella. Well, I kind of all of these
It's true.
things.
That's true. And the Twilight series was not ever made to be creepy. It was just silly.
Yep. So what we're learning is that this stupid Kendall is the responsible for more damn ass whoopings.
Yeah, Matt, I guess age is just a number.
Whoops. Wah, 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 wah. I can see my
Oh,
house from
cool.
here. Oh,
Yeah, this would be a way to
that'll do
kill.
it.
Yeah, that'll do it. Not dropping him on his head, but you'd have to literally explode him. Or at least his head, that'll do it. Um, yeah, okay, interesting. Cowbot says backgrounds here remind me a little of the bowels of Cloud City. And
Yep.
Johnny Devick is saying Cloud City before or after 97 when they went and digitally messed it all up.
Oh,
Well,
an
good
anime.
news. They're
Yeah.
still supposed to release the original theatrical version of the original trilogy. They're supposed to hit the theaters next year, I think. All three
Everything
of them
Black
are.
Prince is correct. In anime, age doesn't matter because you could be 300 years old and still act like a toddler. Meanwhile, the 16 or 17-year-old is like the veteran of like 5 world wars and
Yeah.
and is like the greatest swordsman and marksman or every sort of thing ever having been at 16 or 12 or whatever age it is. Yes.
That's true, because outwardly they wouldn't change their age. So even Edward in Twilight looked 17, but he was more like 200.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
frequently with the in anime with you have the extremely young teen protagonists who seem to be amazing at everything. They get appointed as generals, and they're ruling kingdoms and all this stuff. I'm like, how old are you? I'm 13. You're like, what? Meanwhile, there's almost always some sort of like, usually a girl, uh, evil like girl or child girl who's like 5,000 years old or whatever, and she's into like teddy bears or whatever. You're like, okay, whatever. And
And
she's got like
that
a little,
that is kind of that's bordering on being a little creepy when you've created a character like that is so old but in a child's body and
yeah,
still childlike mentality. Um, yeah, Johnny Devick, a young childish vampire original.
yeah. Uh,
Um,
Another good one
yeah,
is
it's
Vampire Princess
weird.
Miyu. Vampire Princess Miyu is another one. Well, she was like she's more of a mixed case. That was another one that was manga based. She is an older
What is
one. Vampire Princess Miyu. Now, she is like an
There you
old
go.
vampire in a child's body, but she's not the sort of infantilized version of these older characters.
Okay.
Like you would also see it with some older, like with some male characters too, where they're like thousands of years old but still act very childlike.
Yeah, because when you infinitize an older character trapped in a young child's body, it's bordering on a lot of the legal issues in the movie industry that they do to protect children. Um, but yeah, that's like a whole nother thing we don't need to get into. Um, yeah, interesting. Mm, how about yes, lots of okay. 50th anniversary. Kathleen Kennedy stepped down. She did, and Disney knows how to squeeze a dollar. So I'm fairly confident we are finally going to get Blu-ray 4K of the original versions. Yes. And GH Zoner is saying Disney could have made $1 billion easy by just giving us the original versions a long time ago. Yes, the original versions were there. They were on. I remember having the VHS original trilogies in the theatrical version. Then they went and changed everything.
And then
So
there we go. We got a good glimpse of why D here is so powerful and what is the D short for, everybody?
what
Rhymes.
is it?
Rhymes with Acula. So they just showed you a picture of Dracula. So his dad was like in a lot of these where Dracula is like the OG most powerful. So he is
Right.
the child of Dracula, which is why he's pure aristocratic vampire. He's like pure. His dad was
Gotcha.
like the super vampire. So while he's human, he's half super vampire, which makes him better.
Because of the bloodline.
Yep.
There you go, Johnny Devick. Alucard, spelled backward, is Dracula.
Yep. It's like I remember when that was clever. Now everyone does it. You're like, oh my god. The second you hear someone say Alucard, you're like, oh, you're Dracula. Because I've seen it in Hammer movies. I've seen it in a TV show, Dracula the series. I've seen it in anime. I've seen it in Castlevania. So now I know. Or anyone named Lucard. Lucard too, because Dracula the series did Alexander Lucard or A. Lucard.
And yes, now that we can see it, we can't unsee it. So anybody with that name, we would know exactly what that means. Matt is saying I wore Alucard on my McDonald's name tag in 1985 and no one thought twice. That's clever. That is clever.
Oh yeah, the stuff you used to be able to get away with. Like I used to have like JoJo the Bizarre Adventure references on stuff.
Hmm.
Before it hit like Cartoon Network and everybody suddenly decided that they loved it. It was a thing that was well loved in like Japan, but it was more obscure here. Now everybody's a like freaking scholar on it now. I was like, where were you guys in the 90s when this was like the obscure thing and I was trying to figure out where can I get my hands on more of this?
Yeah.
or even the early 2000s. Well, now everyone's like this generation, that generation, fifth generation. I'm more of a fifth generation person. I was like, I'm like, oh, really?
Um, the OG Cowbot's posting the OG Count Dracula, Lon Chaney Jr. And I want to say that is 1940. When did he do Dracula? 1942?
Let's
I
see.
want to
Let's
say,
see.
was it, or was it in the
Was it
30s?
before or after he did the Wolfman? I
I
think.
was thinking it was after, but because the Wolfman was, I think, 42.
Hmm.
Um, okay, yeah, Lon Chaney.
Son of Dracula. He was sorry. He was the son of
Thank you.
Dracula. The son of
43.
Dracula.
The
Son of
OG
Frankenstein.
1943.
Of course, this
It's
shot of
way back. Right, Lord, yes.
D D behind a tree gets a callback later in the sequel. But very
See, she's
man with
cured
no
now.
name.
She doesn't have that thing on her neck, so she's cured because
They killed the master vampire.
Mr. D was triumphant.
Yeah, Bela Lugosi was one of the originals to originate the role on screen and in the plays.
Yes,
Lon
who was
Chaney
the
Jr.
original? Was it Bella or Lon Chaney?
It was Bella as far as
Bella.
Universal ones. I'm not
Okay.
sure if there was a depiction of it before that, because if you're
Okay.
whether or not you consider Nosferatu and Dracula to be the same, even though it's telling the same story, but they didn't have the rights to
Well,
it, so they changed it.
that was the first one, I guess.
Yeah.
Nosferatu in the teens. Bella Lugosi did it in the early 30s. That was way before Lon Chaney. Okay.
This feels like a callback to Shane. Yeah, you're right, and I'm gonna try not to burst into tears over that because it was my stepfather's favorite, one of his favorite westerns. So
Oh, oh, Jane,
I remember
1953.
that. Shane, come back, Shane. D, come back, D.
Mm. All right, we got some good westerns. We have not had any westerns.
Oh,
Yes, Cowbot. Bela Lugosi's Dracula was the first official Dracula movie.
yeah,
Nosferatu was still a Dracula movie,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
but I
Just
don't think in the
they didn't have the license, so they had to change everything.
yeah, I don't think Nosferatu is not in that legacy when we talk about the origins of Dracula.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, there
Frag
we go.
Lord. I recognize the image. I'm trying to remember what it's from. Not the shame one. The vampire. That wasn't D&D, was it? Was you talking about Mr. D? Oh God. Oh, okay, Mad
Oh
Matt.
man,
You win
that's
the
a
chat.
throwback to early '80s comedy television.
Spike
Or
Lee.
late 70s, I think, when Different Strokes came out.
80s.
Oh boy.
Possibly, maybe it started in the 70s. It's definitely on in the 80s.
Exactly. Um, okay,
Mr.
here we go. Calbot says
Mr.
Murnau
Drummond.
failed to obtain the rights. Courts ordered all copies destroyed. Thankfully, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, thankfully. Wow,
Well,
guys, that is it for our anime introduction. Um, yes, Eric. Okay, so Eric's saying, are you going to put a poll for Western movies? I have been racking my brain this last week to try to get an appropriate Western. We run the gamut of the old time Westerns, the black and whites. We got the spaghetti Westerns. We have the modern day Westerns. And my brain is going to explode. So I would like to do a poll, but yeah, so I was going to do a Western for next week, but yeah, I'm running into a roadblock. So we are going to take a break from our February streak, and I'm just going to throw a random movie in for next week. But let me just say, I thoroughly enjoyed today. Um, I have learned a lot about the anime genre, um, and all the different styles and all of the different stuff that is out there. It is enormous. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today. Even if anime isn't your thing, getting here and chatting about movies and TV and life.
It's like, ooh,
Um,
Searchers, Tombstone. We're getting some good selections here.
I know.
Although Tombstone, I lean towards Tombstone because I'm not sure if I've actually seen the whole thing all the way through.
Oh, see, and that's what I would consider a modern day Western. Even though it came out in what, mid 90s. Um, yeah. So we have got all of these westerns to choose from. Um, exactly, Matt. We have barely dipped our pinky toe into the pool of anime. Yeah, absolutely. We're just starting this anime journey. There is still so much to choose from, as with all of these genres. We just,
Blazing Saddles.
it never stops. Blazing Saddles, boy, I don't know. Do you think Blazing Saddles could fly? It's still a classic. It's a Mel Brooks classic.
Young
Um,
Guns 1 and 2, interesting. How about
so
this?
you know what?
Cowboys versus Aliens.
I think I'm going to throw a poll out for our westerns, just because there's, just like anime, there's so much ground to cover. Where do we begin? What would you guys like to see? So yeah, let's be on the lookout for that. Um, And as for next week, it's a toss up and I've got to choose one. Let's go, let's go way back into the 60s and we're going to enjoy a little comic relief with Batman 1966. Um, and we're going to do a
You
little
do the
super,
Fatusi.
yeah, we're going to get some camp. That is as campy as it gets. Of course, it is based on the TV show, or the TV show is based on the movie character. It's because I think the movie came out the same time they were filming the show, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Westworld, yeah, Westworld's a good one. Sci-fi and western. Mad Max, you'll
um,
love it. Of course
yep.
you.
Um, so yeah. So next week we're just gonna go all out camp with Batman 1966, and we're gonna just have fun with it. So be on the lookout for a poll for westerns coming in the next couple days, and we'll figure something out, guys.
Did we get a wife's
Um,
cheese rating?
oh, yeah, sister. How about wife's cheese rating? Here we go. Yes. All right. Sith's sister saying, okay, I like anime, but this feels like something's missing. Wife's cheese rating, this movie was imitation nacho cheese without the nachos. Lacking depth of character, so slap this imitation cheese on some Brussels sprouts, and that's as tasteful as it's gonna get. Yay! Thank you for that. Thank you. Um, all right. And we're yes, thank you, Matt. It was in between season 1 and season 2. Um so there you go. Any last thoughts, guys? Any words of wisdom, any parting words to get us on the week ahead?
Enjoy your superb owls.
Enjoy your superb owls. What is the meaning of that?
Well, Super Bowl is trademarked, but the superb
Ah,
owl.
okay. Gotcha. That's right. The Super Bowl is today. It doesn't sound like a lot of you are going to be watching it. I think I'm going to pass, but if you get out and watch it, have fun.
Bring
Um,
garlic wherever you go, like old Chinese said,
there you go.
and wear pants
Have
and
fun.
wear shirts that cover your booty, please,
That's right.
or pants.
I think that goes without saying, right? You got
Yes.
to cover yourself up. Um, and Johnny Devick says, bring garlic wherever you go. There you go. Great parting words, guys. It has been my pleasure bringing this to you every week. We're going to be doing it again next week. Um, Same bat time, same bat
Same bat
channel. We
channel.
are bringing you Batman next week. Um, there you go. So be good to yourself, be good to others. And thank you, Miss Swift. It has been a pleasure. Thank you all for joining. We'll do it again next week. Bye.